So I'm joined here by the one and only UberNick. If you've never watched UberNick, he is a lovely gentleman who streams a lot and has been killing it today. Didn't you get like 500 subs today or something crazy like that or yesterday?
I got like 300 subs on Twitch.
Dude, crazy.
It's pretty nuts. Pretty nuts.
Crazy. Yeah, he's been blowing up the Twitch world, which is cool to see. So we play a lot of Halo together and a lot of other games, oddly enough.
Why are you never this nice to me outside of video? It's the first thing I've noticed.
I looked back in I was telling him recently, I looked back in our Instagram DMs, and it's always just me crapping on things he tweets. Like I'm just like he'll ask a question or something, and I'll say no, and just like it's just like the
or
most
I
toxic
reply
thread.
to your story being like, oh, that was cool, and you're like, shut up, or like just putting me down. I'm like, all right.
Yeah. It's because you're being built up too high. We got to bring you back to reality. That's the secret. So you got to have that person in your life.
You got to have friends that
grounded.
don't big you up whatsoever. They just keep you down.
So he's been doing great on the interwebs. And so we recently played the Halo 2 flighting that just came out. We played some rounds together, and he's logged way more time than me. But I've got enough feeling. It's not like there's anything inherently new there, right? Like it's like I've played Halo 2 for how many hours of my life, right? So
yeah.
So you can pretty quickly find out, the pros and the cons and what you discovered. So what are your first impressions? What comes to mind? Like, is there anything that stands out to you as positive or negative?
So right off the bat, out of all the games that have come to MCC on PC so far, this to me feels like the most well polished. Feels like it belongs on PC. Like Halo 2 just feels like it is a natural PC game. Reach just felt a little bit janky. CE works on PC quite well, but CE has its weird quirks here and there. But Halo 2 I feel is just a really beautiful experience, and Halo 2 Anniversary especially. It's a gorgeous game that has really just come into its own and really brought to life on PC, and just how snappy you can be with the keyboard and mouse controls is awesome. So right off the bat, just feels like it belongs on PC, which was like my biggest concern, and it checks all those boxes. Totally.
Yeah, so I found the same thing, is that right away, again, one game, you can hop into a custom game, and especially Halo 2 Anniversary, but the package as a whole, it truly just feels good. And I kept saying that. I almost didn't even have words for it, right? It's like one of those things you just need to feel. You need to feel it on mouse and keyboard and just be like, you know what? Like this, it's clear to me that whatever framework they're using, I don't actually know the answer to that. Do you know if they're using like the Vista framework at all, or if it's the really just pulling it, or like, yeah, I'm curious about how.
Was the gearbox.
There must be something there, right? Because to me, it's very, very clear that this just feels more made for PC. Like it just really works. Feels great. I had that clip, which I will show on screen here, yesterday. Actually, I'll throw the your clip as well. That was a good one. Yeah. But my clip where I was just, I hijacked a dude, and then he hijacked me, and then I'm like throwing grenades, and my teammates are cleaning him up, and it was just like, I honestly didn't think that to get as big of a reaction as it did. But I even posted on Instagram just so like people I'd never see commenting on my post being like, damn, like this looks good. And it was like, well, it's because like that was just such a little contained moment that you almost wouldn't even see if it weren't for PC and mouse and keyboard. There's a few things that come into effect there, one of which was my vehicle FOV is higher by 5. I have like 115 normal FOV and then 120 for vehicle FOV. So when you see that hijacking thing happen back and forth, it does this kind of interesting warp effect. You'll notice that like it's kind of subconscious, but now that you hear that, you go, oh, you're right, because this is kind of this wild like, it's almost like you're playing Doom, like watching that footage.
Oh,
right?
yeah,
It's
yeah,
like, whoa, 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 like it's just like the crazy stuff happening, right? So, but like, and there's that absolute being able to like flip down in midair and throw a grenade at my feet and then like loop back up to shoot someone, and the turret, like the instant whip around to hit a guy, like turrets at vehicles, like flying vehicles, especially on mouse and keyboard, are even in Halo 2 just nuts. Like,
I feel like mouse and keyboard with Halo 2 Anniversary anyway so far has just unlocked like a chaos to it that wasn't there before.
Yeah.
Obviously you're pretty limited. You can be like 10 stance on your controller, but it'll never be just as snappy and instant as a mouse flick will ever be. And there's been so many moments where I've looked at the ground, threw a grenade, looked straight back up with my shotgun, whipped down, picked up a sniper, whipped right like 180 directly around, go for a no-scope on someone. Like that just doesn't happen. Like it really ramps up the speed of the game, and the FOV, as you said, the game feels faster now with a bigger FOV in my opinion. So it just feels like everything is just flowing and just it feels more Halo than what Halo has felt before, if that makes any sense.
I know what you mean. There's something about it. Well, and I think it's to kind of add on to that point. I think it's just we've developed these new modern tastes, especially with the increasing distance between Halo releases. the whole industry has changed so much over the course of Halo, and that Halo hasn't evolved that much over the years.
No.
Like, comparatively, some other franchises that have really tried throwing things at dartboards to see what sticks,
Yeah.
And it's, even introducing Halo 5 is I would say the biggest modern departure. I mean, it is the most recent one, but it's also, just how fast that game is and the thrusters, and you're whipping around everywhere. Like, you watch HCS Halo 5 and it's uncomparable to any other like competitive Halo game, right?
Yeah, definitely.
They're just all over the place, and it's a joy to watch. But that's to your point there, is that it's certainly more in line with what you expect from modern gaming. And this, you're right, with mouse and keyboard, with higher FOV, it feels like this was kind of just released, right? Like, it feels like this is more of a modern title again.
It doesn't not feel like a 2014 game. Well, this time when I'm talking about Halo 2 Anniversary, just for people to know, but it does not feel like it was released in 2014. It feels like it came out pretty damn recently, just because of how good it feels. Like, Halo 2 Anniversary, the release was obviously very banjaxed with the MCC, so I'm happy that it gets a kind of second life here on PC. So a lot more eyes will see it in a working condition, and they'll get to appreciate it in the best way possible now with all the PC optimizations and all that good stuff. So it's awesome, yeah.
It certainly didn't get its 15 minutes of fame.
No, it didn't.
Right? Like, it's because that's, and initially the story of MCC being that it was initially just going to be Halo 2 Anniversary, and they decided to put every game together to make the MCC package, and they were in over their heads, and it's it's one for the history books of gaming. But because
definitely.
of that, the absolutely awesome Halo 2 Anniversary didn't get that shine, right? Didn't really get, especially to the non-hardcore Halo fans. We'll buy everything. Like, I don't really care.
Yeah.
It's not like I'm going to be like, I'll wait a month or something to buy this Halo game.
Yeah.
Right? Like, can you imagine thinking that way? Because no, like till the day I
think
die.
I'll give Halo Infinite a miss for the first month.
Like,
we'll see what they do with this one.
No, right? So it's cool to see that, and I'm hoping. I never know, right? You never know with this title how it's gonna do. Obviously, we've seen some pretty good numbers. Even still, it was pretty all right. Coming back from 343 is certainly very happy with how it's been performing on Steam and PC as a whole. So it's going to be interesting to see, because you're right, that CE is a kind of weird game. It's probably my worst Halo in terms of perforence. Like, I'm just
Halo 2
not
is my
good
worst.
At,
Halo 2 Classic is my
I
worst
usually here's
by
one
far.
of those two, for the most part.
Yeah.
Like, because HQC is super interesting.
Well, it's arguably the most skill-based one. Well, people would say CE, but Halo 2 has its own complete
I agree.
skill requirements. So I just never played enough of it when I was younger to get there. So that's why I'm excited about PC, because it'll give me this opportunity to actually learn all that stuff.
Yeah. Between controller and mouse and keyboard, because both you and I switched back and forth, and we are among the true higher beings who just have a controller. We were talking about this. We have a controller always plugged in to our PC.
You don't have just a USB controller. I'm showing Dan right now, but always plugged in.
I'm really next level. I have my white Xbox Elite controller.
I have my black Xbox Elite. Okay.
So so there you go. But I always had it plugged in, right? And it's just like we were saying for games. Like for me, Sea of Thieves, like I'll play entirely mouse and keyboard, and then when I'm fishing, I want the rumble feedback, I want the full stick motion, or if I get into a vehicle in many games, like even Halo games, I'll sometimes be like, oh, I'm just gonna whip. Although I was surprised since Halo came to PC with Reach, I have been surprised with how well vehicles handle on a mouse and keyboard. They feel like better than almost any other FPS I've ever played. I'm not sure why, but I think it has to do with how Halo's vehicles have always been twin stick motion. It hasn't been. I mean, you can probably change your controls, or whatever, but most games will be like right trigger to go forward, and that's how that steering type works doesn't translate as well to the mouse and keyboard, because the mouse and keyboard you're treating your mouse as a stick, right? Where you're looking is where you want to go, and a lot of games completely flub that on PC. But for whatever reason, I mean, again, especially flying vehicles, how insane they are and just fun. It's just it's surprisingly fun driving vehicles with mouse and keyboard.
I mean, the Banshee on mouse and keyboard turns into... It was already annoying, but it turns into such a deadly weapon with the keyboard and mouse. If someone's good, especially Reach was the worst, because the Banshee can flip around and turn literally instantly in the snap of your finger, and it's ridiculous. It's almost too good. Like, it almost shows like they did not think about this being on PC, because it's overpowered.
How did you perform in general? BR in hands, controller versus keyboard, and what do you think kind of the pros and cons there?
So obviously, I've put, I don't even want to think how many hours, how many days into Halo with a controller over the years, and literally like zero in comparison with keyboard and mouse. And I jumped into Halo 2, keyboard and mouse, and I did about as I expected. I did okay. I did average. Wasn't anything special. Wasn't necessarily awful. But if I'm not experienced with it, I'm not going to do that well. But then I plugged my controller in, and I did. It was almost like a different player. It was almost like a different person was playing, because the controller, in my opinion, on PC at this moment in time, has such a major advantage with aim assist. A lot of people like to call it auto aim. But aim assist on the controller on Halo 2, in my opinion, is a pretty major issue, because I don't want to be the person that harps on about it, but it truly is a problem if you're going up against someone that is using a controller and you're on keyboard and mouse. It does a lot of the work for you. It's very tweaked towards controller in those fights.
I almost found it was valuable for finding targets, right? Because you'll be kind of scanning a landscape, like almost subconsciously, right? Like, because it reacts faster than you can to locking onto a guy if I'm spinning down a field. I know we were playing on Bloodline. There were points there where, like, I'll be kind of whipping to the right, and I'll instantly lock onto someone, right? Like, that's all. Those first few shots too are damn valuable in a game like Halo, where on mouse and keyboard, obviously you don't have that. Obviously, it's a lot more of an active motion and just like really knowing where you're aiming. That being said, especially H2A. H2A on keyboard and mouse, I found I was outplaying most people just with, there's something about the swiping that you can't do on controller, right? Where I'll be like, this guy only needs one bullet in him to kill him. Yeah. I would just do a full left to right swipe. That was super, super easy on mouse and keyboard. Yeah.
I will say, even though the aim assist is pretty strong on controller, there are, as you said, benefits to keyboard and mouse that a controller will just never have. That quick flick reaction, you just won't ever have that on a controller. Yeah, cue the sniper clip. So, the amount of people that I've ninja'd or assassinated just because I was literally able to run past them and then instantly 180 and just smack their back because I was using a mouse has happened numerous times now, and that just doesn't happen with the controllers. So, not trying to sound like against controller people, both have their advantages, but controller, I do have an issue with the aim assist a little bit, but that's just how it's always kind of been with keyboard versus controller.
I have noticed on bigger maps, because we played just a bunch of big team battle, that getting ranged shots with a BR was far easier for me on mouse and keyboard than it was on controller. Because once it's past a certain point, you're not going to get any of that lock on. It's not going to get that pull, and so those pixel perfect shots. Halo 2 Classic is a little weirder with it. I think the spread's just a little stranger. But H2A I found very easy to get just cross map hits. And I could almost tell when someone was using mouse and keyboard against me, because we would be, again, across Bloodline, and I'd be just be like, dink, 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 and I'm like, no way this dude's hitting me across the map with the VR, but he's totally using a mouse and keyboard. Like, I don't think he would do it with a controller.
Yeah, that's very, very true.
We played some off-stream we played some off-stream campaign together, and that was a lot of fun. That's something that I'd love to do again soon, by the way. We should stay tuned for that tease. Maybe we'll do some more content there.
Maybe. That might be a video in the future.
That'd be great. But that was a surprisingly fun time. There was something about it. I mean, I think Halo 2, Halo 2 is a lot of people's favorite Halo. I think the campaign is just a fun time. There's a lot of really fun levels. The vehicles, and obviously the snipers are awful, but we played Legendary. And we did it. Like we got through it. There was we were even messing around for a lot of it, which was fun. I'm wondering if snipers will be easier in general because you can counter snipe better, right? And you can just really do those flip shots. Like, I'm curious to see, right? Like, and see what that looks like. Campaign's gorgeous. H2A on PC, it just runs really pretty.
It's just so beautiful, and like the increased frame rate as well is just such a, like, even if it was stuck at 60 FPS, I would still just be super happy. But just those extra frames, just everything looking so pretty, the enhanced graphics options, so everything isn't popping in weirdly when it's too far away. It's just, the game was just meant for this kind of tech.
Speaking of frame rate and performance, we both noticed a bit of hiccuping on Stone Town, the Zanzibar
Apparently that just has terrible optimization, I've heard. So that's not even the game. That's just that map just apparently has bad optimization for whatever reason. So that's like the only place I've had issues.
Yeah, I haven't really noticed anywhere else. And it wasn't even major for me. I didn't have an FPS counter going, but I didn't even notice until you brought it up. And it was only like when I was standing in certain places, like I was on the seawall looking a certain way. And like it was never really game breaking for me. And maybe it could just be because I'm so used to, Halo 2 not being in unlimited frame rate, right? So, but certainly, I mean, other than that, I don't think I really had any issues otherwise, performance-wise.
Nope, I have not had any hiccups or weird dips at all.
So let's round this off. Your overall thoughts? You think it's solid? It sounds like you're pretty happy with it. I'm
honestly over the moon. Like the Halo 2 Anniversary and Halo 3 are the two that I have been, and Halo 4. Don't get Halo 4 forgotten. Halo 4 is going to be awesome on PC.
Oh, it's going to be
good. But Halo 2 Anniversary and 3 are like the two I've been most excited for, and 2 Anniversary has lived up to all of my hype so far. I think it's going to be a blast. I think people are going to absolutely love this game on PC. I'm really excited for people to finally maybe even revisit it. People might have just dipped and just forgot about MCC since day one. So if they're going to revisit it on PC, finally give it that chance it always kind of needed and deserved. So I'm very excited. The controller stuff, it's been an issue with Reach and CE so far, and it's going to probably continue to be an issue for a while. So I don't know what their idea going forward with that is. Obviously, crossplay will be affected if they decided to change the aim assist whatsoever. But I don't know. That's an issue for the developers to figure out, not me.
And I think to that note, while it's easy to go on a Twitter rant about how there is
love our Twitter rants.
there are ways to go about things, and this it has to be this way or whatever. The reality is, there's all of these things have been long in development, long in discussion. You always got to give the benefit of the doubt that they're working towards something. But it's always worth thinking about too that, and I think they've actually stated this publicly, that these tests and these problems with controller versus keyboard and how those are optimized together are bigger issues than a lot of people realize. This is something that Halo moving forward, especially with Infinite and stuff, and I don't think they've technically announced crossplay yet, but I'd be very surprised if it didn't have crossplay.
I would be very shocked
I'd be
if it didn't.
I would be damn disappointed if it didn't.
Yeah.
At least for co-op and who knows what, or social playlists or something, or just have the toggle or whatever, right? But they need to get that figured out beforehand, and they've said that. They've said that they are using these as test avenues of moving down the line, because it's a tough thing to tackle, and it isn't as easy as just saying yes or no. There's got to be a little bit of gray area there on what that looks like, because we're dealing with the future of Halo here.
Yep.
So there you have it. Halo 2 on PC, currently in flighting. If you haven't signed up for flighting, absolutely get on that. I'll have a link in the description for the Insider program. They go in waves, so you and your buddies will hopefully get in pretty quick. They're pretty good about it lately.
They're pretty good.
A lot of people are getting in. It was at the very beginning of Reach, it was really hard, but now it seems to be pretty consistent.
Yeah, they're opening up to thousands upon thousands of people. So,
and I mean, we've had no problems finding games or anything. It's just you get right.
I find games better in the flight than I do in the MCC sometimes. So.
Yeah, it's cool. So, where can we find you on the internet?
You can find me in multiple different places. Twitch is just UberNick. I stream 5 days a week. YouTube, just UberNick again. I upload plenty of Halo content on there. Halo's my jam. And I also have a Twitter account, so make sure you follow me on Twitter. Just UberNick_. There you go. Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it. Thanks for coming on. It's been fun. Let us know in the comments, guys. More than anything, the most important thing. Don't even talk about Halo. Don't even talk about things. Talk about UberNick and Greenskull collabs. All right. Let us know how much you want us to do stuff. So give us some suggestions. Be like, hey, we'd love for you guys to play a lasso mission or something. So it's something that I think, especially I'll be coaxing UberNick as well to create, non-stream content, because it's very hard when you're a streamer, and as a streamer you can attest to this. Yeah. That's the trap I don't want to fall into. It's so easy to pull from stream or give things that were there, but to set aside time and do off-stream content, there's a ton of value in that as well. And that's something that I've been thinking about lately. You'll see me go in phases where I'm streaming every day, and then I'm gone for a month, because this month I'm all about video content. And so we'll find something to do, but give us some suggestions in the chat, in the comments below. Please. Thank you for watching, everybody. Thanks for coming on.